We are back here in Freiburg. We are working with the police out here, and I'm sorry if this video is late, but I went and I watched Formula 1, and I watched cycling at some family, and it was all lovely and good, but I came home late and all that, and I ended up accidentally watching more motorsport while playing geoguessr, so I spent about an hour doing that, because ADHD, so I forgot to make dinner, so I got that late, so you get this video a wee bit late. But we'll get cracking out here. Someone was up all day reading. I mean, he's kind of low. He shouldn't have been reading, but no, he cannot. We also have a stripe to give out. We can give that out here to, well, pretty much anyone out here. But seeing as on B shift we do not have any stars on our investigation team, we'll give that one to Armstrong just to give him a bit of a boost. And we have lots of stuff going on here. We can now improve our SWAT team, which is very good. We can increase efficiency. We'll work 3 times a day. That's a very good question. I think working 3 times a day might be the most useful thing. Oh no, let's go efficiency by 100%. Another request, we can hire one more detective. No, I don't want to do that just yet. Close this down. We now earn 10% more, and we can hire one more police officer, which we are going to do. Officer, he's very old, so he might retire. Oh, but he's very high on that. Furthermore, we can hire, do we have any women? We got her, but she's very old. Let's hire Daniel Birch for A shift just immediately, and for B shift we can hire Helen Bowling because they're equally matched. And really that doesn't matter. Close. Mafia my share. Ooh, that's a very interesting situation here. I don't know if I talked about that beforehand, but we can either take everything ourselves, which means that we keep it all hush-hush, and nobody else will find out about it, because I suspect if you give half with my staff, they would know that we are up to no good, which is not necessarily the case right now. I will take everything for myself, but the upshot is that they could be unhappy about that situation. I'll finish that story once we've cleared this out here. This is from Sand. The Sand family's main attorney is under guard around the clock, and that goes double for his children. But before we could pick him up from school this morning, some of Varga's punks kidnapped him. We don't know how Varga found them. They live under false names. Anyway, you'll need to act quickly. They haven't gotten far. I will send out Cade Middleton and Jojo here. They will go off blues and twos. So we cleared all of that out here. What do we have? We have an investigation going, don't we? We've got hit and run frame. Let's go in out here with detectives, see who's actually working. And Marlowe's not working. He's taking a well-deserved rest. So we have... well, let's just try and assign everyone, really. We can always clear them from the case. We have gang activity. No gang activity going on. That's fine. So they're just working on the investigation. Let's go into our police station. Look at our roster. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8... 9 officers on A shift, and just 1 less on B shift, which means that we hired in on the right shift. Investigators 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But we did hire in another one, so we actually get another one in on B shift, which was right because that would put everyone on 9 in terms of beat officers and 1 extra investigator, which is fine because really they seem like these are more evenly balanced. I mean, Sandstrom here is not, but that's fine for now. We have also got a fight now at an elementary school. 2 senior students began to fight right in the middle of chemistry class. Their teacher, Dolores Ponder, first tried to calm them down, but when she attempted to separate them, she was poked in the eye. That doesn't sound nice. Let's dispatch Sue Barkey here with Officer Degar. Get them rolling to that call. We have a theft now in the Museum of Feelings and Fine Wine, I'm imagining, out here. But we'll go in out here. We'll have to free up some investigators. Detectives, let's clear DeBrido. I don't know, Bowling, is she on this case? And Mole is working. Ooh, yeah, we'll keep Anthea Turner on that. That's the only one right now. And then I'll assign those 3, or those 2, DeBrido, to work here. Really, investigators are what we need. We need to try and push them a bit harder. We've got drug sales at St. John's Hospital. Mrs. Dunbar said there was a nurse tried to sell her drugs right in the hospital. I went to the doctor after I broke my arm. The nurse heard me complaining about the pain and waited until the doctor left. Then she started telling me about the pills she could get me better than Vicodin, according to her. So we have a bit of a distribution of drugs going on. We'll assign 3 officers. We'll keep 3 on the loose for other calls. Okay, they're returning out here. Fight in progress. Offender called, officers unharmed. And they are happy. Sue Barker feeling good. And that bloke, what's his name? Herbert Matthews Degar. That's too long. We got Jojo. Investigation has commenced. I'll just leave that for now. There's no point in looking into that before we actually have any clues to go off. Hopefully we'll get more clues in our other investigation into the hit and run. Yeah, hit and run it was, wasn't it? Let's have a look actually in drug sales report. Offender caught, officers unharmed. Loot found cocaine. He shouldn't be in hospital, is he? Well, it means it's 2016. He might be. We'll bring it to the police station. We don't want to be too suspicious. Mr. Boyd, I'm a wealthy man, and I'm concerned about the fate of our fair city. I would like to fund 3 additional officer positions at your police department, but I must make one condition. My adopted son is to take one of the new jobs. Of course, you mustn't fire him under any circumstances. Do we have a deal? Oh, I'm not entirely sure about that one. That is far too much nepotism, to be honest. Let's say no, because we might be corrupt, but we're not going to do nepotism. We now have another Sands needs help. Some goons grabbed the half-sister of one of our family members right off the street. Her driver called us from a nearby payphone, but he's a wimp and couldn't actually do anything. From the description we got, it sounds like Varga's men. If you were there first, hold on to... If you get there first, hold on to them for us. Don't hurt them too much. Just make sure you don't let them escape. We have something special planned for them. Listen, if you want me to do bad stuff, yeah, don't give me all of the saucy details. Let's assign those. He's getting that as a penalty for being lazy. Well, he's not lazy because I made him work all the bloody time. But he wanted to take the day off because you read a decent book. Although technically I stayed up late last night reading a book too, so I can kind of sympathise. But it's Sunday today, so I can't say anything to that. And now we have a robbery at the city centre. A parking valet just called in reporting that a girl exiting an expensive car was approached by a man wearing a hood who threatened her and took her bag. Let's assign Purdy and Yancey just to get a bit of variety going out here. That is the issue right now, is that we have so many officers here on each shift that we're actually struggling to use them all. And then usually when we get to the point where we're kind of getting critical, we get quite an important call coming in. As now we've got a robbery in progress at the prison. An assault with an offensive weapon at Diamond Dock State Penitentiary. An older prisoner, tired of eating the food served by the prison cafeteria, made his way into the kitchen carrying a shiv. A shiv? What's that? I don't know. Doesn't matter. Intent on having a word with the chef. That's not a good move. A guard called the Hang on, this is a prison. Why would the guards call the police? Surely they could deal with it. As he was reluctant to enter... Oh, there we go. I should read the whole thing, shouldn't I? A guard called the police as he was reluctant to enter the kitchen for fear of further provoking the prisoner. Well, surely the police turning up won't do that at all, will it? You stupid something. So I'll get Sue Barker here, Jane Austen, and Robbins, whatever, on that case. We've got a report in here on the robbery. Offender caught, officers unharmed. Very good day indeed. We have one more officer knocking on the 300 club, as we do with Sue Barker. That is a very good indeed. I mean, Cecil out here is doing very fine. He's very, very good. We can't actually see how old he is, but he looks young, so he probably won't retire anytime soon or quit. Although he might have young kids, which he might want to spend time with. Oh God, it's difficult running a police department. Assault with an offensive weapon. Well, technically you can't really assault anyone with a defensive weapon, but that's semantics. Semantics? I'll go with schematics because it sounds much wronger. I even went worse there. Anyway, the kitchen floor is decorated with broken plates and an overturned pan filled with muddy slush. Oh, that sounds delicious. Serve me a plate of muddy slush. An elderly prisoner is sitting on a stool, dripping his hand into the pot of the slush and shoving it towards the cook's face, yelling, "You try eat that shit, mate. You lucky you got fed at all. Hey, we got a couple of nice warm burgers here. Let's cook up something else. It only takes a minute." I like that one. That's very northern. There we go. Perfect. Oh, bother. I've got reports hitting and I'm pouring some more water. Oh dear. Let's have a look. See here on theft report. I got 3 new frames. Open the investigation here. So our clues. Sorry about the weird sounding I'm making. I'm just repositioning my chair following some water pouring. So Mr. Campos, museum guard. I walk the museum every hour. The alarm is off. City Hall won't allocate money to fix it. I didn't hear the glass breaking. It's a big museum. When I went down this way again, it was already early morning. The window was broken and the canvas was cut from the frame. There was no trace of anyone around, just a brick lying on the floor. We don't have enough frames to do anything yet. Museum parking lot camera. Set to us, the parking lot was empty all night. In the morning, a cyclist went past with a tube on his shoulder. The guy slowly rolled into the parking lot, then left the bike for a couple of minutes and went out of sight. Then he came back, got on the bike and left. Mr. Van der Hoff, art school student. Let's just change that to future unemployed, but yes. Bram van der Hoff said, "I suffer from insomnia and often go cycling around the city late at night. I took a tube and some other equipment so I wouldn't have to go back home before my morning classes at the art school. I stopped at the museum to pay, I admit it. I like to mark the corner of the building. I imagine one day my work will be hanging inside." So he's probably our suspect because he knows he'll be unemployed once he finishes art school. So he took that just to make some money. Jeremiah Stevens, that sounds very biblical. Teacher at the art school, just note, just that one unnamed. In his lectures of the works of the Dutch masters, Bram van der Hoff always sharply criticised the works of De Vroom, but he paints cars. He dismissed the legendary artist as overpriced mediocrity and was very amused when an unknown De Vroom painting was discovered in the city dump. He said it was already in its proper place. He was less amused when he learned that the De Vroom painting would be hung in the museum. "I wouldn't be surprised if it was Bram who broke into the museum and stole the painting. To burn it or cut it into tiny pieces." So the museum window, quite interestingly, told us that the glass is almost completely broken out. A grown man could easily climb through the window and not cut himself. Most of the shards are lying on the pavement outside the window. So it's lying on the pavement outside of the window. That's not what we're seeing up here. That's the exact opposite, because if it's lying outside the museum, it indicates that the window was broken from the inside, whereas our little snapshot up here shows the brick lying on the inside with shards on the ground, indicating that it was broken from the outside. So which one is it? That one also, is that him breaking the glass with a Maglite? Or I shouldn't say Maglite, that's a brand. Oh, I'm sorry, with an unbranded flashlight. We'll go to the hit and run. No new frames found. So apparently we have the full line up here. So him walking into the road. They get on the power. But it doesn't show them actually hitting him, does it? So what if we shuffle these around? No? Shuffle those around? No. This is the worst investigation I have ever seen in my life. It was a dark coloured car come tearing around the corner, hopped the curb and kept on going. Knocked the man over, didn't even slow down. Mr. Alvarez, not long before a crash, a few days ago, I saw 2 people in the car that went right by me. The passenger seat had a beard. Kilmick thought he was being followed. Yeah, okay, let's have a look here. We don't know how they arrived. Oh, but we're running out of frames here. Perhaps it's because we don't have enough detectives actually working these cases, so I will have to tell them to stay in a bit late. because it's not getting anywhere with our kind approach that we are having right now. So the day ended with absolutely nothing to call for it. There are even Stevens out here. I mean, we really should do something about the Vargas. Continue. So I have to keep in mind that our investigations need to conclude. But I can't really ask any of these to stay in because they definitely need rest. So A shift will have to handle it with 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, that's only 4. But they have one out here that I can ask to stay in late. And I hired in someone else that I apparently can't order to stay in tomorrow. And they're fully staffed out here. Yeah, I won't. I'll give this shift a break out here because they're pretty worn down. I can't really ask any of these people to stay in because they're very tired. Which is a problem considering that we have 2 investigations going on. But that really is, I suppose, just genuine life lessons there for people. Police departments are underfunded and they're often understaffed in those roles. So, Bailey, no. No, you cannot, Bailey. You're not allowed to. That's not how this works. So I'll leave them on the hit and run. Because the other one was just a theft. Obviously. Hire female cops. Tomorrow is the deadline. How are we doing with that then? Let's have a look out here. Half is supposed to be women. 1, 2... Is Vandal? Is that a bloke? Info? No, that's Richard. 1, 2, 3, 4... 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2... No, we've got 12 out of how many? 12 out of 90. No, plus 9. That's 9 plus 9. That's 28. That's not enough. None of these are worth hiring. I mean, those women are very old and feeble. They can't do anything. I might have to let that one slide. I mean, when are they going to finish off him? Declare... Oh, do you have to do that? Fine. Okay, so he's been declared dead. Which means I could hire one of these. But they're all very old. The deadline is tomorrow, though. So I'm not entirely sure I can actually do anything with that. I could hire Samuel Carr here. Because he is the highest rated. That guy's very old. And he should have a higher rating for his age. But he's a bloke, because now we actually dropped it down, which put us closer to what we want. I mean, if we're lucky, yeah, someone will die today, and we'll actually have it all leveled out tomorrow. Why is it flashing here? Yeah, I know I can hire someone. I don't want to hire any of these people. Disorderly conduct in the suburbs. An elderly Emma Weston called in a complaint about her neighbours. Her house is shaking from loud sounds of gnashing metal and the roar of turbines. Are they building a fighter jet in there? Accompanied by some strange beeping noises. Yes, they plainly are building a fighter jet. Let's get Birch and Jane Austen on this one. Off they go. I know I can hire someone. I don't want to hire any of the people that are there. So I will leave it for tomorrow, where hopefully a woman who isn't old will do it. We now have a hostage situation with a fatal casualty. Patients at the local asylum rebelled against the nurses during breakfast. The nurses have been wounded while others remain locked in the patient while dining. They're threatening to kill one nurse every hour. There has not been a fatality yet. Given these data out here, just 3 nurses have been wounded while others remain locked in with the patients in the dining area. So they're locked in there, but they are threatening to kill. So it's murder or... Let's get all of my finest officers with SWAT and our Irish wagon to the scene immediately. The disorderly conduct's finished out here. All is well. Meanwhile, our officers are arriving at the local asylum, hopefully soon. Okay, they're now going across the water, which is impressive, I think. I get why they put it on that little island now. So, reporters and onlookers have gathered around the building. The asylum patients are watching the growing crowd from the windows of the 3rd floor. Storm the front door, call in and negotiate, gain entrance through the back door. Ooh, that's kind of... See... I'll try and make a sensible sentence here, because clearly that didn't go well. But the issue with storming through the front door is that you're going through the front door. Calling in a negotiator, it seems to be very risky considering the demands that were put, or the intent of murdering one staff member every hour, which is probably not going to happen. We're not going to get the negotiator out there in time before the first person died, which is bad. Gaining entrance through the back door, we have a very effective SWAT team, so hopefully they will go in first, and they will go shooty bang at the bad people. Let's try and do that. Offender caught, officers unharmed. Hang on, hostage situation with a fatal casualty, and civilians were unharmed. I'm making a face that you can't see, but it's one of slight disbelief, compounded by a bit of confusion, which really sums up my feeling about that. We now have reckless endangerment at the city centre. A frightened woman phoned in reporting that 2 men dressed in armour were running through the street shouting, "Beware our stings." They were chasing passerby and swinging their blades at them. They've not done anyone harm, but those swords seem dangerous enough. I'll agree, swords do seem like something that could cause injury. Let's get Bailey. The Old Bailey, that's a courthouse in London, with Samadhi and beard cell. He just sells his beard. Onto that call, we just want to try and boost these officers down here. I mean, look how far Birch has gotten. I mean, he's old, and is he one of the drunk officers? I don't think he is, but he's certainly old and feeble. I really should fire him. And my God, it's pretty outside. It's only quarter past. Oh, I've got a Sans call in, but it's 8:15. And for some reason, the sun is setting. Well, for some reason, I know why the sun is setting. That's not the part. But it's very cloudy outside, but it's also very orangey in the light that's going on right now. Sort of grey-orange. It's bloody beautiful lighting out there. Very soft and very, very moody. But let's put Birch out here because he's probably the one we can spare. Let's put it that way. An old friend is visiting Mr. Sand and they're planning going horseback riding, but the owner of the country club just called. He wasn't making much sense. It sounds like Pong's beating Mr. Sand's horse to death. You know, I mean, you're just beating this horse to death by now. Reckless endangerment report. Offender caught. Officers unharmed. Civilians unharmed. That's a good thing, I suppose. I mean, hopefully the investigation out here, it's not particularly useful because you can't see who's actually working today. Well, we can see those who are at home. And I know the fact that there's nobody working on this investigation over here because they're both... Well, we've got Bowling Green is here. A city in Kentucky. I'll assign her to work that case. Although, is she home? She probably is, but it seems like... actual bodily harm is, grievous bodily harm. It's a hit and run. It's actually vehicular homicide. So that's more important than someone stealing a bit of art. And we have a noise complaint from the ghetto. Klim Yuriev reports that suspicious people are constantly going in and out of the apartment next door. They're carrying big bags, making lots of noise, screaming, and his 3 sons can't. They're carrying big bags, making lots of noise, screaming, and his 3 sons can't concentrate on their homework. Mr. Yuriev urges, someone's got to show these bandits who's boss. Well, we don't know what they're doing, actually, but let's get Kochi, Bailey, Jane Austen, the bloke who sells beard, and Mojo, along with a paddy wagon out there. Hang on. I just realised something. We had officers start work today, so let's have a look at our actual roster now. 1, 2, 3, 4. What about Kojo here? That's the one I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we're still 12 women. How many men? How many in total? 12, 18, 19. That's 27. We're a bit off, really, but sod it. So Mr. Sand wants some further help out here. A whole mob of Arca people attacked a truck belonging to one of our companies. This truck is carrying some important cargo the kind Mr. Sand and his deputies know about. The driver tried to call us, but we lost the connection. He may already be dead. You've got to stop these assholes. I'll leave that one until maybe these two get back out here, because they are the least professional officers. So it would be nice to have them on that. Come on, return home. Go on, chaps. Return home for me. Come on. Here we go. Bloop. So they will all go out of there. I mean, if they all die, that's perfectly fine. So the noise complaint. Oh, they found automatic weapons. Ask the... Yeah, let's ask the Mafia to sell it. We also got reports. No new frames found. So I don't really know what to say or do about that, because plainly I don't feel like any of this is of any use to us. So that's where the blood is. But I don't know if this is... I mean, quite clearly we are missing something out here. So did he cross, then get hit? No. Yeah, I don't think we have all of the frames here, and we don't really have the detectives to actually work this case. So we're ending the shift here with the Sands taking the lead, which is all we really want from this.